I'm speaking to you, Jared. Mr. Garrett, make it happen. Dak Prescott is leading our team right now. I need you to take Tony Romo, take a couple picks, and give them to Cleveland so you can pick me up. Please. I love to play in Dallas. Just make it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some very interesting, I guess you could say, rumors to discuss as it pertains to the Dallas Cowboys. Now, you saw at the very beginning of this show, one of the best players in the entire National Football League clearly wanted to play for the Dallas Cowboys as he was coming into the league. And as his team's season finally came to an end, it was time for him to reflect on what the future may hold. Now, Myles Garrett has 1 year remaining on his contract as he's set to be a free agent in 2026. And oh my, if Jerry Jones were to pull something like this off, and really the only reason we're talking about it is because clearly Myles Garrett wanted to be a Cowboy at one point in his career, and now we're coming up on a very real opportunity for him to make good on that dream. But if Jerry was to do this move right here, I think all things would be forgiven as it pertains to the sins of the past few seasons. Let's get right into this as we'll kind of discuss some of the parallels that we can draw between this type of move for a Myles Garrett and another move the Dallas Cowboys made to actually help them win some Super Bowls back in the 90s. Be sure to subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content, as roughly about 50% of you guys aren't actually subscribed, so do me a favor, subscribe for your boy, and let's get right into this one. But before we do, be sure to check out BetUS, America's favorite sports book and today's sponsor of the show. With BetUS, you can utilize promo code YouTube150 to get 150% first-time cash deposit bonus up to $2,000. You can bet on all of your favorite NFL matchups, including the upcoming playoffs and some college football games as well, if you're into that kind of thing. Either way, please remember to bet responsibly and only bet if you can afford to bet. Now, let's get right back into today's show. Myles Garrett sends a 5-word message on a future with the Browns. Much has been made about Myles Garrett's future with the Cleveland Browns, and he added further speculation with a cryptic statement. The Browns wrapped up their season on Saturday with a 35-10 loss to the Baltimore Ravens as Cleveland finished 3-14 and will have a top 3 selection in the NFL draft in April. It's not what anyone had in mind at the start of the year, which began with high expectations. Remember, the Browns, they actually made the playoffs last season with Joe Flacco at the helm, and with Deshaun Watson coming back healthier, they had higher hopes for the season this year. Garrett, who recently turned 29, isn't interested in a rebuild. He made that apparent with a public message on what he wants to see from the Browns. Well, for me, first of all, I want to win, and I want the Browns to be able to put me and us in position to win. And I'm not trying to rebuild, Garrett said previously. I'm trying to win right now. I want that to be apparent when the season's over and we have those discussions. I want them to be able to illuminate that for me, illustrate that for me, so that can be something I see in the near future, because that's all we want to do. Garrett's contract currently runs through the 2026 season, but following the loss, Myles Garrett was asked about a potential contract extension, which would likely make him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Quote, "There will be something coming," Garrett said, when asked if conversations with the front office would affect his future in Cleveland. Okay, so clearly there's a little bit of trouble in paradise, and if you remember, one of the biggest parallels I can draw to this situation with Myles Garrett, 29 years old, essentially in the prime of his career for a pass rusher, an absolute unit on the field, would be Charles Haley. When the Cowboys went and traded for Charles Haley in the 1992 season with the San Francisco 49ers, and they gave up a 2nd and a 3rd round pick. Now, because Myles Garrett would only have 1 year left, let's say he goes into the summer and the Browns can't make it clear to him that they're actually trying to win, or they're going to make moves to try and win this year. And he says, hey, okay, would you guys just trade me then, please? And remember, Cleveland ain't averse to trading stars. They traded Baker Mayfield, and they just not the best team as it pertains to keeping guys throughout their whole career. I think the last guy they probably kept throughout their whole career was that left tackle they had like decades ago. I think it was Joe Thomas or something like that. That was the last guy that they kept. for a really, really long time. Outside of that, Cleveland hasn't had really any lifers to retire with them, and I don't know if Myles Garrett's going to be the kind of guy that just wants to stick around on a poo-poo team just for the purpose of being able to say I only played one team my whole career. But remember, the Cowboys went and traded for Charles Haley, and they traded a second and a third round pick for this guy, and I feel like the value would be kind of similar to that for Myles Garrett, especially since as the team trading for him, you only have control over him for one season. Then you would likely have to re-up his contract. So the Browns can't ask for like a king's ransom, especially with his cap hit. And we're going to take a look at that in a second, as well as his cap hit in 2025 will be about $19 million against the salary cap, which means for the Cowboys to be able to make some type of move like this. And there's a lot of parallels to be drawn from this. Remember, Charles Haley was traded from the 49ers because he was starting to have issues with the 49ers ownership. Myles Garrett sounds like he's starting to get a little bit impatient with the Cleveland Browns ownership and the way they're operating. So there are some parallels here, and I can absolutely see this type of move being one that had the type of impact that a Charles Haley had. Could you imagine having Myles Garrett on one side and Micah Parsons on the other? Forgetting Abdul, if you had Myles Garrett on one side of that line and Micah Parsons on the other, that's raps, man. There is nothing anyone would be able to do against that. Quarterbacks will be under duress all damn day. It will be nothing but quick passing games against the Dallas Cowboys defense, which in turn would open up opportunities for our ball hawking corners like a Deron Bland and hopefully Trevon Diggs if he's able to come back to form a little bit after those injuries. But the Myles Garrett move would absolutely have the type of impact that a Charles Haley move had on the Dallas Cowboys defense in the 90s. And I think Myles Garrett, honestly, bro, that right there would be the missing piece for the defense. I don't think you would have to do too much. You would just have to fill some holes, make sure you got starting quality guys elsewhere. And I think having a Micah Parsons and a Myles Garrett and a Maris Leofau and DeMarvion Overshown and Osa Odigizua and some of these guys, man, that would be absolutely ridiculous. In fact, that's one of the ways the Cowboys could open up enough space to bring in a Myles Garrett. Because if we looked at his contract, like I said, $19 million against the cap in 2025, 2026, same thing, about $20 million in cap. That's essentially what they would be paying someone like an Osa Odigizua yearly to come back. So I guess my question here at this point in the show would be to you guys, would you rather have that salary cap space be used on a Myles Garrett, or would you rather have Osa Odigizua back? And there's no wrong answers here, y'all. We're really just spitballing because, let's be real, Jerry and them ain't doing nothing like this, but damn it, that don't mean we can't talk about it, because there are avenues for them to make this type of move, especially when you're looking at an Osa Odigizua likely commanding close to a $20 million per season contract. Then you look at a Zach Martin that likely could be retiring. And with that retirement, the Cowboys could do what the Rams did with Aaron Donald and restructure his contract upon him retiring so they can stretch out those cap hits that they're going to have for Zach Martin over the next few seasons. In 2026, his cap hit would be $17 million. In 2025 would be $10 million. So if he was to retire this offseason, they could stretch out the rest of that prorated bonus that they've already given to Zach Martin. They could stretch that out for another 3 seasons with a simple restructure and open up a little bit more cap space. Then you got a guy like a Trevon Diggs that's making $19 million average salary. You go and restructure him a little bit. You could probably open up more cap space, but it would take the Cowboys being able to sacrifice and being okay with understanding that they're going to have some dead cap as they're going into their rebuilding years with a brand new rookie quarterback. And I think that's fine. The quarterback position takes up the most money on the team. If you have a rookie quarterback, you can afford to eat $50-60 million in dead cap for a few seasons so you can reset your books. And it's up to the Cowboys to be courageous enough to make those type of moves. But they absolutely have an avenue to be able to go out and get a guy like a Myles Garrett. 100%, and don't let them act like that they don't. 100% that they do. And honestly, to me, this would kind of be like the defensive version of what Philadelphia has with a Devontae Smith and an A.J. Brown. And they're paying their quarterback and they're paying a running back. Why wouldn't the Cowboys be able to pay a wide receiver, a quarterback, and 2 defensive ends premium money? Because that's essentially what the Eagles are doing, but with just the receivers. So yes, a Myles Garrett move actually could work by the numbers. They could absolutely make it work. It would just be, would Jerry and them be comfortable pulling that trigger? I don't know, but I absolutely know that this right here, this would definitely be the type of move where you're like, all right, Jerry, all right, we back up off you for a little bit, because to me, Myles Garrett is an impactful enough player as an individual to where, man, come on, bro. He could absolutely completely flip how a defense is playing, especially when you already got talented pieces in place like the Dallas Cowboys do. And remember, Myles Garrett played at Martin High School. He's from Arlington, Texas. He grew up looking at AT&T Stadium all the time. He grew up playing in AT&T Stadium here and there in high school. So this right here, this move is not something that's this far out of the realm of possibility, especially if Myles Garrett makes it to free agency. Then I could definitely see him being in play for the Cowboys, because he's already made it clear he wants to play for the Dallas Cowboys. But either way, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Until next time, I'll see you then. Again, be sure to subscribe for me. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video, and we still same old Cowboys.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still in ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still in boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey! I'm still in boys.